Hello, everyone. Welcome to Cloud Bootcamp. I am Danish, your host for multiple session, and along with me, Moise and Miranda will also join to host some of the session. I would like to say hey to everyone, and I would like to see how many people are joining from different part of the world to make it interactive. If you all can drop your locations in the chat section so we can see how many people are joining from the different parts of the world. I would like to say, like from the previous year and a very positive feedback on the security bootcamp, we decided to continue the bootcamp series. And this year, we are back with the performance edition, and we have a great lineup of guest speakers such as we have Sabrina Zeidan, we have Adam Silverstein, Miriam Shop, and there are many others. They are expert in the performance field, and it is your chance to learn from them. So if I can see in the comment section, so we have people from USA, Nitin from India, Frank from Texas, and we have Abu Bakr from Pakistan, Albania, New Mexico, Joshua from New Mexico, Khalid from Kuwait. So there are multiple peoples, and it is good to see that we have a global audience. They are joining from different part of the world. Before we begin with the session, there are a few things I would like to inform. I would like to give a shout out to our partners. We have partnered with WP Rocket, GT Metrics, Equalize Digital, Uptime Robot, EWW Image Optimizer, and there are few other partners as well. Those who support us to bring this event in a live. And I would like to also say, like, we activate the leaderboard, so you have a chance to climb the leaderboard. So there are multiple activities you can do to climb the leaderboard, and you will win big prizes. And we also incentivize this event. You can learn with the fun, so there are multiple activities as well, so you can participate in the activities and win big prizes. So the first session would be a keynote session by Sabrina Zeidan. And I would like to say about her, like, she is a performance expert, and it's her daily task to optimize the WordPress websites. And the topic is the state of web performance in 2026, why speed is solved, but performance isn't. So we have Sabrina Zeidan on the stage. Hey, Sabrina, how are you?
Hello, Danish. I'm good, thank you. Happy to
Are
be
you
here. Thank you
excited
for the
about the event?
introduction.
I was asking, like, are you excited about the event, as we have multiple people from all around the world? We have people from USA, from Greece, from India.
I'm super excited, and especially knowing that it's different time of the day everywhere, and it's Tuesday. And thank you, everyone, so much for joining us.
So without a further ado, the stage is yours, Sabrina.
Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, hello everyone. Here I have my slides. I hope that everyone will go good. I will just hide this one. I'm really excited to see so many people coming from different parts of the world. What we're going to talk today is the state of performance in 2026 and why speed is solved and performance is not. Let's see. One second. Danish already introduced me. I will just say that improving performance of the websites. My name is Sabrina Zeidan. Okay, improving performance of the websites is my daily job, but I also teach WordPress developers how to improve performance of the websites. And since this year, I'm also teaching WordPress agencies how to make performance a part of their normal process of their daily work. I love performance. I'm very excited about it, and I'm excited to see all of you here. Drop something in the comments that those people that share my passion to performance. All right, let's see what we're going to cover today. We're going to see some numbers. We are going to see some big innovations, especially those that came in 2025, 2026 also. And we're going to see the real state of web performance for now. But first, before we start, one thing. While I'm talking and while we are in this presentation, I have two polls prepared for you. I would ask the team to put the first poll on the screen, so while we are in the presentation, you can answer the poll. I would greatly appreciate if you participate. And we'll see the results of both polls in the end of the talk. Can we have the poll on the screen, please? Team? Danish? All right. I think at some point, we will have polls on the screen. Let's proceed with our topic then. Just a sec. So before we start, we need to get aligned on what we are calling performance. Just a sec, guys. You see my slides and I do not. And now I can see them as well. All right. First, we need to align what we're referring to as web performance, because during the years, the meaning of web performance has changed. Quick historic data. In 2010, we thought about performance like more about of a speed. If it loaded, it was fine. We measured the server response time and also we measured the total page load time. It was dark times. All right, and then in 2015, there was a shift where we started to measure perceived speed. It wasn't important anymore how long did it take the entire page and all the assets to load. It started to be important how we felt, how fast it was. And performance shifted from number of total seconds of page load to perception. And then in 2020 and up until now, we are in new era. It's not about how fast it's loading. It's about what experience it was in general, how good was an experience. Because Google in 2021, you know, this introduced Core Web Vitals, and this shifted everything in performance world forever. Because we are not only thinking about the speed, now we're interested about this speed that we perceive, largest contentful paint, LCP, right? How fast it seemed to us. Then we're interested about LCP, cumulative layout shift, if it was jumping or it was stable and we were able to see what's happening. And we're interested in INP, that before was FID. INP, interaction to next paint. How interactive the website was on this load. And now even more, how interactive the site was after load, and longer, how interactive it stayed. So performance today is not about loading time. It's about the entire user experience. Was it stable? Was it fast? And was it responsive? That's what we can refer to as web performance for one person in this moment of time on this specific page. And Core Web Vitals refers to web performance as this experience for 75% of visitors on the website. Was the page fast, stable, and interactive for 75% of visitors of the website? All right, now when we are on one page about what performance is, let's see what are the contributors to performance. I wanted to say like what impacts performance, but also it's such a synergical thing that these things, user, the person who is opening the page, the infrastructure, meaning hosting, server, CDN, where the site lives, and the website itself, they make such a big synergy now that it's hard to, and we'll see this later, it's hard to separate one from another, but we'll try. User. This means the device that they are using, the connection that they are on, their location, the browser that they are using. The infrastructure, what I just said, CDN, hosting server, all these protocols, database, all this stuff, technical stuff, that is not on the side of the user, but it's not the website itself. And then there is a website itself. I'm a WordPress person, so I'm going to talk about WordPress specifically. So the website itself, in terms of WordPress, means WordPress core, but also theme, plugins, all the assets, all the custom code, third-party scripts, API requests, everything that is happening on the website. And then we have the fourth layer, or the fourth contributor to these three. It's the person who investigates performance, you and me, the person who is there to improve performance. And this person now has possibilities that were never present before. We have lab testing, like synthetic testing, where we can replicate someone's experience. We have Core Vitals, where we see the real user experience on this website. And then we have RUM, RUM, real user monitoring tools, where we can see specific things, but we'll get to it in a second. The important thing to understand that these four parts are working in synergy. And now let's see how each of these evolved over the last 10, 15 years and what exciting things have happened during the last 2 years. We're not going to go through everything, but through the most important things, okay? So in terms of user, in terms of device connection speed, location, browser, very quickly, but I guess you know this as well. What it was in 2010, I guess the majority of people who are here now remember it was just a mobile phone, and sometimes maybe you can send something through the network. But now, in 2025, first time, the mobile speed average, this data is average global data, average mobile speed overtook home internet, the broadband. And this is incredible. It shows us how important for the world, for us, mobile speed is, and how many possibilities this opens to us. So we have really cool speeds now. Now, device. I guess without any statistic, you can guess that the device that you own today is so much faster, so much better than it was 5 years ago or 4 years ago. The thing is that devices today, like average devices today, average Android phone today is faster than flagship phones 5 years ago. Here I brought the comparison of the average Android mobile phone, and it's 2 times faster, 2 times more powerful. Average phone is 2 times more powerful today than it was 4 years ago. We have a huge opportunity from there as well to be able to open more tabs, to load more stuff, to process more data through our phones. All right. And then browsers. Browsers on our laptops, on our mobile phones. If in 2010 browser was just a renderer. It was just a place where you render whatever. Today, it's a performance engine. It does so many things for you to improve your experience. You probably heard that there was automatic lazy. We needed plugins for this before, right? For lazy loading, for back forward cache, for example, when you click before the page where you were before and forward. These things then. For speculation rules probably you heard that as well. This is when the browser predicts where you're going to click next, and it preloads this content for you before you click, actually. These all were there before 2025. But in the last 2 years, these technologies, they got developed in so much better way. For example, this back-forward cache, before it didn't include pages that had no store that had no store headers. This meant that this particular feature was not available for logged-in WordPress users, for example, for WooCommerce stores. But now it does. But now it is available since 2025. Then we have another thing that is called View Transitions API. I really wanted to show you videos of all this stuff, but we have so much time and there are so many things that happened during these last 2 years that I'm only going to give you like hints that you can Google later and use as a roadmap if you find something new here. And I'm not going to show specific things today. So View Transitions API let us transit through pages like if it was the same app. Like it's animated, it's smooth, it doesn't feel like page is reloaded. This is what View Transitions API does inside the browser. Then we have the speculation rules that I already mentioned. And the important thing for WordPress users that this speculative loading, this predicting where the user is going to click, is shipped in WordPress version 6.8 in April of last year. It's built into the core. So without doing anything, we have that in WordPress core. And now it's really widely used. So browsers became really performance, I don't know, engines, not even helpers. It's not that they're helping us. They are engines that are handling performance stuff for us. Let's see the next one. How infrastructure evaluated. CDN. Like 15 years ago, 2010, CDN existed and Cloudflare existed, but it was expensive, it was complex, and it wasn't benefiting all the websites. For example, it wasn't benefiting local websites that had fast servers next to them. It was before it was better to get fast if you are serving local audience. It was better to get local server next to you, next to your audience, and that was so much faster than having CDN, especially that it was expensive. But now the situation changed because CDN now, Cloudflare now, has things that it never had before. For example, edge delivery. You probably heard about this. You probably heard the word edge delivery. But literally, it means that it delivers the content not from the few points in the world, but from a lot of points in the world. They have, I don't know if I have this in slides. Yeah, I have this. 330 locations today from where they deliver content, and that makes possible to deliver websites, to make time to first byte, to deliver websites, to establish connection to server in less than 50 milliseconds. 50 milliseconds. And before, 600 milliseconds were kind of fine. For reference, we are clipping, to make a clip with our eyes, it's 150 milliseconds. And to deliver content now through Cloudflare, to start delivering this content, to make a connection, 50 milliseconds. They also have bot protection, DOS protection, all types of security stuff in their stack. Very important, very interesting thing that they have, and it's also very new. It's called early hints. This, like, how happens the normal load of the page? HTML is loaded, and then browser receives the assets that we need to load, CSS, JavaScript, blah, blah, and it starts loading those ones. This is the normal order, but with the technology that is called early hints, server tells browser before it finishes loading the HTML, it tells browser which CSS or JavaScript would be a good idea to load. And that's how browser can start loading, before start loading these assets in few lines before the HTML has finished. This is a very cool technology that also impacted the server. The server, let's get in it in a second. But Cloudflare, this stuff, it's all available for us for zero, for free, for millions and millions of websites for free. And in 2025, the specific offer that Cloudflare has for WordPress users, that is called APO for WordPress, it got a new breeze because this plugin, APO for WordPress, it existed before, but during years it was a little bit forgotten. And in 2025, it got a new update. It's actively maintained again, and for $5 per month, now we can get not only all the things I mentioned before and caching of the assets, but full page caching that is not included in free plan. Not only CSS images and JavaScript are cached, but also HTML is cached, which is great, cool. This is the level of enterprise that is accessible for WordPress websites across the world for $5 per month. Incredible. Then, server. What do we have with server? Let's not remember those dark times when servers were really slow and everything. Let's focus on what we have now. We have new standards now. It's really a new standard for any managed WordPress hosting today to have edge delivery that is powered by Cloudflare under the hood of the hosting, that lets managed hosting promise you the level that Cloudflare promises. Time to first byte of 50 milliseconds. Then we have PHP. The latest version of PHP is 8.5, and the PHP 8 that we have now, it's 3 times faster than PHP 5.6 that we had just 12 years ago. Then we have all types of caching, including by default on our server. It's very normal and we expect it very much from the hosting to have this, to have op cache, Redis cache, MySQL cache, to do PHP compilation and database requests, to do this once, and then if the request is repeated, not to do the same work 2 times. And then in 2025, these early hints, when server tells the browser that it's a good idea to download this CSS or this JavaScript while the HTML hasn't finished yet, before HTML has finished, this technology was added to Nginx as native support, which means that now managed WordPress hosting can have it as built-in. I know that some hostings already have it as a toggle. You can enable it in the dashboard, or it's included by default. But these improvements, they're incredible, and this is happening for 20. Like this managed WordPress hosting might cost $20 per month. I guess the lowest tier at Cloudflare was at Cloudways was $14. Danish will correct me if it's not true. But for $20 per month, now you get very fast, very responsive web server with all of this stuff. A quick look at PHP versions and benchmarks that are showing performance improvement between versions. I would like you to note here one thing. PHP 5.6 was very long time ago, right? But very long time ago. But it's a huge difference between 5.6 and 7, 8 version. But between 7 and 8 version, it seems in the graphs, it seems that there is no big difference in performance gains. But there are really performance gains when you switch between, when you update your version. Even if you have now 8.0, 8.1, if you update, you still have performance gains, because how the engine handles caching, this op cache, is different. How it handles simultaneous requests is different. Maybe there won't be different if the site is low traffic, but if there is load on the website, switching to the higher version will show you performance gains. And that's not even talking about that since 8.2 is the oldest version that is actively supported now. We'll look again at this table a little bit later, where we'll see WordPress market share. How many WordPress websites are using which version? But if you have now PHP 8.0, 8.1, still it's a good idea to update to the latest versions. And the latest version now is 8.5. Let's see how WordPress, the core itself, has evolutionated during these years. So in 2010, the core was shipping features, and then it was your pain, it was your job to figure out how to make this website fast. Then in 2020, WordPress started to catch up with all the performance stuff that is happening in the world. WordPress in the core introduced a lot of new things, like this SCRC set for images, where you can have images of different sizes loaded depending on the device that the user is using, so that you are not, and there is no need to do anything manually. the image that is suitable for mobile is loaded when suitable for mobile, and not the huge image for desktop is loaded. Then we had lazy loading for images inbuilt in WordPress as well, that supported the lazy loading from browsers and other things. But the most important thing that happened, that in 2021, the WordPress core performance team was started. This means that there is a specific team inside WordPress core that is dedicated to make every release performant and to improve specifically this part of WordPress. They have a clear roadmap, they have weekly meetings, and for today, they have a lot of work done. Let's see examples of this work. Now, in 2025, the WordPress core has performance features, performance improvements shipped in every release. For example, in 6.8 in April 2025, WordPress started supporting speculative loading, this thing from browser when browser predicts where you're going to click. Then in WordPress 6.9, another huge thing happened. Before, in block-based themes, we already have the conditional loading. If the block is not used on the page, it's not loaded, and its assets are not loaded. But this wasn't the case for classic themes. And classic themes, if you look at statistics, they still are the majority of the websites on WordPress are running classic themes. That's not block-based themes. That's why this improvement impacted a huge part of WordPress websites. Now, if the block is not used on the page, it's not loaded, and this works for classic themes as well. Then view transitions, this feature from browser where you switch between two pages and the switch feels like fading in, fading out, very, very nice and pleasant one, not like a reload. This as well is going to come in WordPress very, very soon for admin pages. And also we have a free plugin that lets you do this for front end. This all is work of WordPress core performance team. And also they are releasing a lot of useful plugins, and one of them are free plugins, Optimization Detective and Image Prioritizer plugin. What it does, the combination of these two, and usually what they do, they are releasing plugins that are available like plugins, and if they see that this thing works well, then it gets integrated into the core. So this is the step to integrate this feature to the core. These two plugins are working this way. They're identifying LCP image, the image on the first screen, the main element on the first screen that impacts LCP in Core Web Vitals. They identify this element for mobile and desktop separately, and they prioritize it. It's very important in performance to prioritize things properly. Everything that is on our first screen, we want to be loaded as fast as possible. Everything else should wait. So these plugins are helping to do this. In 2 words, WordPress core, not each year, each month is getting faster and faster, more performant, impacting millions of WordPress websites. Tooling. Tooling, meaning for people who are investigating WordPress, investigating performance issues and trying to make websites faster. In 2010, what we had was Page Speed Insights. It was a number of recommendations: do this, don't do this, and check boxes that you are supposed to check. It was telling us nothing about this website, specifically about the experience of users on this website, because it didn't take in account anything, not user and device, not location. But it was better than nothing, because before we didn't have anything. And then Google introduces Core Web Vitals, and Core Web Vitals, as I mentioned before, changed everything. I even have I want to stop here for another moment to emphasize how important this change was for the entire ecosystem. So in 2021, this happened. Core Web Vitals became a ranking signal, and PageSpeed Insights started to put Core Web Vitals results on the top before Lighthouse results. That was uncomfortable. It was uncomfortable for many developers, because you see, after all the hype that we had with PageSpeed Insights, and this number of themes were promoting themselves like this, caching plugins were adding this PageSpeed Insights mode and blah, blah. I think you remember this. This was crazy. But then you go to PageSpeed Insights, to the updated version of PageSpeed Insights. You see your number of PageSpeed Insights, which can be in green zone, like 90, for example. And then you see Core Web Vitals not passing Core Web Vitals, which means for real users, your website is not fast, is not stable, is not interactive. This was a little bit sad. And then Google added in Chrome Lighthouse report, and now the professional testing, what we were doing before with web page test and other tools, they became available for us on our laptops. While working on the website, you can do this. You can put CDN, you can put VPN, and pretend to be your user wherever it is, pretending to be from their country, from their part of the world. You can throttle connection in Chrome DevTools with using this Lighthouse report. You can throttle connection, you can throttle even CPU, and pretend to be a mobile located in Germany, for example, and using this connection. And this gave incredible opportunities to reproduce the issues, investigate, and improve them. So, only one part was missing. We had lab testing with Lighthouse. We had Core Web Vitals as real user experience representation. And then the tools like SpeedCurve, like Debug Bear. By the way, Matt from Debug Bear will be giving a talk, I think later today or tomorrow, at this bootcamp as well. I'm sure it's going to be very interesting. So tools like this, they combined three parts. They combined synthetic testing, lab testing with Lighthouse, Core Web Vitals, which represents real user experience, and RAM, real user monitoring, where you can see the specific group of users struggling with specific thing. And therefore, you can replicate this and improve. This shifted how we use all these tools, how we work on performance forever. And now, in 2026, what we have? The main thing, of course, it's AI. I guess many of you already saw it. I made video before about it, that there is AI support right in Chrome development tools. Like you are seeing long task happening in your website, and you immediately can ask Gemini, what's happening, what is blocking, what's going on. Another thing, you can take all this data from Debug Bear and speed curve, for example, and you can feed, I'm sure this is going to be soon an inbuilt feature, but now you can do it yourself, and you can feed this data to AI so that AI analyzes the trends for you and maybe find something that you haven't noticed. This is a huge help as well. And then another important update from 2025 that Core Web Vitals went cross-browser. Core Web Vitals are supposed to give us the information about real user experience on our website. But before the last year, this was only collected from Chrome browser. So it wasn't collected from Safari, it wasn't collected from Firefox, but now it is collected from Chrome, Safari, and Firefox. And this is for LCP and INP. And this is really the demonstration of real users' experience on the website. Not only users using Chrome browser, but also others users as well. These are huge updates of these last 2 years. So, as of 10th of March for today, 2026, we have devices twice as powerful as 4 years ago, servers 3 times faster and 3 times cheaper than 5 years ago, free Cloudflare CDN with 50 milliseconds time to first byte. Then we have browsers silently guessing where you're going to click before you do the click. Then we have PHP 8 with opcache, with Redis cache, with a server stack that was unimaginable 5 years ago for this money. We have WordPress shipping performance improvements in every release. We have 3 layers of monitoring, synthetic, from Chrome user experience report, like real users data, and also real user monitoring where we can see them real time. And on top of this, we have AI that reads the performance data and can help us to fix any, okay, not any, but a lot of performance issues. So, why is your favorite restaurant website is still loading under 6 seconds? Well, not only that one, not only your favorite restaurant's website, but many others. Let's look at stats. PHP version and adoption of PHP by WordPress websites. 56% of WordPress websites are running on the versions of WordPress that are end of life, which means that there are no security patches, there is no active support, there is nothing. Only 2% of all WordPress websites run on the latest 2 versions, on PHP 8.4 and 8.5. Most of the hosts support and encourage users to update to 8.3. The upgrade is free, it takes 1 click, there is not much change between code in previous version and this, and still 82% of the websites haven't done it yet. Then 52% of WordPress websites are not passing Core Web Vitals on mobile. The 2 graphs that you can see in this report, they are the number of websites based on WordPress and other technologies passing Core Web Vitals. As you can see, WordPress is doing worse than all technologies in general, and there is no difference between the entire world and WordPress websites. And then 35% of regular websites are using Cloudflare. Only 35%, while 1,000 most popular top 1,000 websites, 70% of them are using Cloudflare or other CDN. And this is with not even talking about free version, or not even talking about this APO for WordPress for $5 per month, not even using free version of Cloudflare. So of March 10th, 2026, we have all these beautiful things. We have all these beautiful things available to us, and still one of two websites are failing core web vitals in mobile. And 30% of WordPress websites are running on PHP versions that are old, outdated, and not secure. So where is the gap? Let me take a look if we have results of the poll. I do not think that we have results of the poll, sadly. But all right, I'll give you 10 seconds to think. Have you heard about all these technologies that I mentioned just now before this talk? Have you heard of any of these? View transitions, this speculative loading, all these innovations. Have you heard of any of these before? You probably have heard. Many of you, I'm sure, have used some of this before this talk. So first, we clearly have the technology to achieve quick websites, quick, fast, responsive websites already. The cost, we saw that it's not the problem. The knowledge is there. If we had a poll, we would have it more like in a scientific way, but I'm sure that you have heard about some of this before and probably even used it. Let me open just this. But where is the gap then? I'll give you a few seconds to guess where it is. And if you have the ideas, could you please drop your ideas in the chat? Because it took 8 years to realize where the gap was. Maybe you can do this in a few seconds. Just 1 second. Okay, back on track. Where is the gap? So, yes, it took it 8 years to realize doing performance work to find it, because I am not only doing performance work, I'm also teaching performance to other developers. And teaching also, usually I'm invited by WordPress agencies to teach performance to their developers. And while I can teach other developers performance, and they can definitely improve performance of the website after, I understood after all these years that this is a drop in the ocean. This knowledge and their good results, they stay private to them and that specific client if the agency doesn't have a system to follow to make this a process. Meet the bottleneck, please. Bottleneck is any WordPress agency that treats performance as firefighting, that only does performance when client comes and says that their website is down because of Black Friday sale, or I don't know what, something happened. That's when they remember about performance. And it's not a process. What is the problem? They do not have delivery system. They don't have monitoring system. They don't have prevention system. And no system to maintain good results after those good results are there, after they already have passed core web vitals and have websites beautiful and healthy. They don't have system to maintain that. And also they don't have revenue from this, because oftentimes what I see that they sacrifice free hours to work on performance issues. Uh, this year, I put myself on a mission not only to teach performance to WordPress developers, but also to teach WordPress agencies to make performance as a part of their business. Well, and make recurring revenue from it, because without revenue, agency won't invest in this thing. That's what I needed 8 years to understand. People that came to this conference today, I guess you guys just the same geeks as I am about performance. You're following news, you're looking for the new ways, new technologies, and everything. But the problem is that we are collectively, first, it's very few of us, and second, we are trying to improve performance of the websites, of those 5% of the websites that are already fast. We want to make it even faster, even cooler, to do more things in more performant way. And this is great, but this doesn't change the system. What changes the system and what really can make the web faster, more stable, more secure is when there is a system in the provider of the service. When the provider of the service, when WordPress agency has performance not as a back thought, but as a part of their daily work. After this talk, later this week, I'm going to release a guide, free guide, how 5 ways how WordPress agencies are turning complaints about performance into revenue. I put the QR code on the screen. You can subscribe to so that I send it there. I would love if you share this with people who you think might benefit with it. And this way we can do WordPress faster, really. Because every time when I see this news, WordPress core got this percent faster. I don't know how about you, but I feel a little bit sad, because when WordPress core gets a little bit faster, it doesn't mean that majority of WordPress website will feel that, because that 200 millisecond improvement in the core, it affects a lot of website. But in a very small percentage, if they were loading before in 4 seconds, that now they are loading in 3.8 seconds. This doesn't change a lot. Thank you for your interest in performance. I guess slides for this talk.
Yeah.
Cloudways. You're here, Danish.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sabrina, for the insightful session. And I hope the viewers have a lot of takeaways that they can implement in their business. There are a lot of questions for you. I can see in the Q&A session, but we are right on time. We have another session with Amber Hill. So I would request you to stay active in the chat and the Q&A session, because there are tons of
Sure.
questions for you from the viewers. So feel free to answer all of those questions. So for the audience, it was Sabrina Zeidan, and I was the one who is following her for the performance tips. So do follow her on Twitter and on LinkedIn. She is very active on the performance side. We have another session coming up for the accessibility, how accessibility drive down your core web vitals with Amber Hints. So we are coming back in few minutes. So stay tuned.
Thank you, everyone. Cheers.